Okay. So basically, thank you for joining today, everyone. And we are Mobile Web Dev. This effort that we are doing is not my only effort. There is a team behind, a team of volunteers who do it for like volunteer purpose, open source thing. And three months back, we got this idea about creating a dedicated community for mobile and web technologies. And that's why we created a mobile web.dev. You have heard about web.dev already, and that actually covers pretty much all mobile technologies. But in my career, I saw that there are many problems with how people develop mobile apps and web apps. So the problem with mobile apps is there are less chances of a new startup of getting their app downloaded. According to a Google report, only on an average, only 0 apps are downloaded every month, and that's for sure because you might also have some only limited number of uh, apps in your phone, and it's very less chance. But you would visit web probably for every small thing that you encounter. But at the same time, web is not optimized for mobile. When you develop websites, you actually are on a desktop screen, and that degrades the whole experience of creating a mobile first websites. So that is why we created mobile web dev to tackle all these four challenges, that is making web apps that are accessible, that are responsive, that are performant, and that are search optimized. So we hold regular meetups, Q&As, webinars, and hackathons. We are based in Noida, India, and we do physical and non-physical events also. During COVID-19, we have already done 5 of the different sessions in collaboration with different communities and doing courses and all that. And this is, I think, our fourth crash course. So we cover almost all the mobile web technologies, covering AMP, Flutter, Angular, PW, and React. And everything is free on the community. We don't ask for any donation or sponsorship. It's totally run by us volunteers, and we do everything from dedication. So nobody will ask for money from you. If they do, let me know. But nobody will. Okay. So with this, I am Aman Sharma, and I am a founder and CTO at Twimbit. Twimbit is a research company based out in Singapore, and also I'm a lead and founder of Mobile Web Dev. Along with that, I am also an active member with AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages, and Open Source Initiative. And just open source and mentoring someone just comes out of love, and that's what my passion is, and that's what I do. So you can find me on these channels, and I regularly talk about open source and things like that. Maybe you find it helpful, and anybody, if you are thinking of entrepreneurship, starting something of your own, having troubles with your career choice and all that, I am always available to help you out with these decisions, and I actively communicate with the community in order to help you out with these things. So with that, this is something how a course outline looks like. So you have already received this. Today is June 15, and we'll be talking about some introduction about the course and what AMP is, why do we actually need AMP. We'll covering the whole agenda in the coming slides. Then second day will be a beginner a look at AMP HTML, then intermediate, then advanced. Then we'll cover one aspect of AMP stories, which recently transformed into web stories. And then on June 20th, I have a small surprise for you, and I won't reveal it right now, but there is a small surprise for June 20th on AMP Everywhere. So remember to join us for the whole journey, and maybe you will see the surprise. So how to make best out of this course? You are sitting in your home wondering, okay, what to do if not watching Netflix. So that's what this course is about. And more than that, what you can do, you can interact on Slack. If you haven't received the link to Slack, you can check back with any of your volunteers, and they will help you out with the Slack link. And take part in any discussion. If somebody is asking a question, you know our answer, go ahead and do that. If you want to share any YouTube video, anything else, any personal project that you have been doing, for sure do it. And our volunteers will be also happy to join back you with that query. Don't be shy about asking questions. You can ask question publicly, you can also ask question privately. If you are a little bit of introvert personality, there is nothing wrong about that. You can have send a comment in the private chat, or send me directly a private Slack message. I'll read both and anonymously ask your question if that's the way. Then whatever we do over here, always remember to practice at home. We have quizzes and assignments, and these things, like regularly following it, will help you in reaching you out with this thing. So there is a question from Kavya. Is this AMP a sort of web dev? Yes, it's an extension of what we do. We dedicate ourselves into mobile web dev technologies, and that's what it's about. What's the other question? I have worked with Android. Just curious, know that should I focus on? Okay, so this is a more career-related question. I think this question was asked 2 days before in GTG Cloud Ahmedabad session that I was conducting, and the answer to this thing is like if you visit to a restaurant or something, if you want something from a master chef is not a master in only one dish. So that is what a master developer should look like. You should not be master in just one dish. You should know everything, but you should be master of one cuisine type. So that is what development is all about. You should know almost everything, but you should be master of one thing. So research on your own. We are not 100% right all the time, and we are always happy to know from you any feedback where we were wrong, and we'll be happy to correct ourselves and also give you the recommended advice on how you can do the best out of it. And keep that healthy smile of yours. That will help you learn faster and also make our day. So I'm really feeling bad that I can't see your faces, but I hope everybody over there is smiling and happy about this course so we can do best out of these things. So some key takeaways from this course that you will do is first of all, you will be learning a brand new technology AMP. It has been only 4 years since AMP has arrived. And this is a cool way to learn AMP in just 6 days, attending 1 hour each. It's a very easy way to do that. Then we have certificates for everyone. Yes, everybody over here is eligible for certificate. And to get a certificate you have to have 100% attendance. We'll be monitoring everybody who is coming over here, so you should have 100% attendance, 70% course minimum in the quizzes that we'll be asking. It's not very difficult quiz that we'll be asking, and 70% accuracy in the assignments that we'll be giving. If you like do this, and if there is a marginal chance still you will be earning a certificate. And also we have special prizes for top performers, top three performers of this zone. And we'll be letting know that as a secret because we don't want a lot of rivalry over here. But there is some special surprise for performers, top performers. Then most of you wonder about remote internship opportunities. Directly straight out of this course, we have companies who are waiting people to join for this particular technology, and we'll be happy to help you get a new internship in a company. And I promise that we'll do that. And then last but not the least, that I love the most, that is chances to make new friends, network with people. And that is what Slack is for. YouTube is for watching, Slack is for uh, communicating. So Jyoti is asking how you are monitoring. So mobile this in the quiz, when you enroll into the quiz, we will monitor it via your name, and also YouTube gives us how many people attended our session. We will match against our enrollments if you have enrolled during the enrollment process, and we will let you know about your scores. Okay, what do we need as mobile web dev? There everybody is dying to get something out of whatever they do. So yeah, we want your happy faces, we want your dedication and motivation to do something. Your feedback obviously help us improve, and a little bit pat on the back how we did. If you want to appreciate us, it's up to you. We don't force it, but we like it. Okay, so with this, let's start with today's session, that is introduction to AMP. This is what we are going to learn today, and these are the things that we are going to cover up. Why we actually need to learn AMP? What is the main reason why AMP came, even if there are so many different frameworks? How AMP actually helps to speed up your website. AMP has the main reason to speed up your website, but how does actually AMP does that? What are the different offerings that AMP has to offer? Then we'll talk about AMP HTML, stories, ads, and emails. So these will be the things that we'll be covering up today. And then there will be a small quiz, and I will also take you through how you have to submit your assignments from tomorrow onwards. There is no assignment for today, so you can relax, just search out for AMP, fill yourself with the momentum, and then you can go ahead and create a assignment tomorrow. That will be like totally telling you about how you have to create an assignment. So I hope everybody over here has a GitHub account, and that's what you need to submit an assignment. You can find me on GitHub, and I'll share the repository link also in here in YouTube and also on Slack. I will be sharing this tomorrow also. So let me share it over here, and I'm also sharing it at Slack. So what you have to do, there will be different folders for each day. So, for example, tomorrow will be the beginner session. So there is a index.html file inside the beginner session, and you have to create a new pull request, adding your assignment file. There will be only a single assignment file that you have to add, and you have to add it with your email address. Sorry, with your user ID that you have used to sign up for the event, and that will be using in order to pass your PR and add score to your things. So nothing much, kind of just going here in this repository, adding a new file or whatever assignment we'll give, and then you will be getting a good score. So getting back to our deck, I'll give you a live demo tomorrow also about the GitHub thing, so don't worry about that. So let's start. You know that this is not a lie now. Like everybody knows that internet is the central hub of whatever we do. You want to know any newspaper, before newspaper you read it on any Google pop-up or anything that is coming. By the way, let me take this question first. I have hearing impairment, sir. Can I access the video with CC later? I'm eligible for certificate. Sorry, I can't understand. My email ID is lokesh97csc@gmail.com. Okay, Lokesh, thank you for is it possible for me to enable CC? Okay, Lokesh, you will be having, we'll be releasing this, uh, the video later, but like try to get through. Whatever I'm going to speak, it's also on the screen, so quiz will not be a problem for you. Let me write this down. Any of the volunteers who are watching, please help out in replying the questions fastly for Lokesh if he has any question, if I'm going through the session. But feel free to ask questions. Okay, so internet is the central hub of whatever we do today, and most of the people discover new things by like internet and web only. Imagine like if somebody wants to visit your resume, your portfolio, they will obviously go to your web portfolio and profile. And if you are starting a startup, nobody is going to know about your app directly. They will probably get a link on some pages. They will visit your website, and then the chances of discovering your website will be there. And now in 2020 we have so many technologies, so many different ways of getting stuff on internet, how we can launch cool things even in different languages, with portals coming up, new VR AR capabilities. But still in 2020 most of the time we experience this, the death circle of buffering. The reason for this is everybody don't have a good internet connection. Even in India we say 4G is fast and all that thing, but I have experienced myself that even in the 4G era, website are tend to load slow. So is there any solution to that? Because it's not your fault if you are creating your website and the internet provider is not providing you a good internet speed. Turns out like people suffer not just the loading issue, but these are all the three main issues that people suffer, which irritates them and they don't follow up with the website in a long process. So these things are slow loading of websites. Of course, we know that some website take like 10 to 20 seconds and nobody wants to wait for that. Sometimes when the website is loading, you cannot do pretty much anything instead of just like seeing at the wide screen. So pages are basically unresponsive at that time, and content is displaced by ads. This is my personal biggest dilemma these days. Whenever you are reading a news or something, the ad loads later and accidentally you wanted to click a button and instead you click on an ad. So these problem bothers us a lot, and bothers us a lot. Thank you, Sunny, for your comment on me doing great. Thank you. So these are all the problems that has been found in the UX report. Also, why people experience what are the problems that people experience for the slow sites. According to a Google report, 50% of your user will leave your website if the website doesn't load within 3 seconds. And you won't believe the average load time in India of website is 7.8 seconds. So that means majority of people are not even getting discovered when their website is opening. So it's a very problematic phase. What we can do about it? So that's where AMP comes at. AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages, and it's a web framework. It's not like a library or just a JavaScript module that you need to install. It's a fully functional web framework, not a JavaScript or anything. You can maybe describe it as a fully HTML plus JavaScript framework, which has four main things to do. That is making website performant, loading fast, of course, accessible. You don't need to write anything else to do accessibility things. Reliable, even on the slow internet connection, it should load within 2 seconds. So this is the AMP promise. If the website is 100% AMP valid, the website should open within 2 seconds, which is amazing. Like imagine everything. Thank you, Suraj. And so that's the point that AMP actually promises to load everything within 2 seconds. And the best of all is that everything is like responsive inbuilt. You don't need to write any extra media query in order to make your website responsive. If you're using AMP, it comes with the responsive feature built in. Learning curve is small. That's the point that will be much surprising for you, and we'll be covering up what how much easy it is to learn. So AMP has these three things to offers. That is AMP HTML, AMP JavaScript, and AMP cache. So AMP HTML is an extended version of normal HTML syntax. So we will learn about this, how you can create your own AMP HTML web page. And Kavya has a question: does this requires one to know about JS? Kavya, don't worry about at all. It doesn't require a lot of JS knowledge. You just need to know how to load JavaScript library that we'll teach again. So you don't need to have any prerequisite knowledge about JavaScript. So you're good. So then it also offers AMP JavaScript, and this AMP JavaScript is responsible for loading things without any block code, that is render blocking code during the loading of page. And then you have AMP cache. If you have visited any recent AMP pages, you will be seeing a bolt icon in the Google search results, and as soon as you click on it, it just opens instantly. So this is something that is being provided by AMP cache. So how does AMP improve web performances? So first of all, as I told you about, it has something called as AMP HTML. So AMP HTML is an extended version of normal HTML syntax. Instead of using something like IMG tag, we will be using AMP IMG tag, things like that. And we'll be going in detail in the coming up sessions about how you can implement AMP HTML. Second thing is you cannot use your own custom JavaScript. You used to use JavaScript in making something like carousel. Yeah, so one question is AMP pages works on other browsers like Safari and Firefox. Amazing question. AMP works everywhere, literally everywhere. Even if you want to run your AMP on Internet Explorer in a featured phone, it will run over there also. And that is the power of AMP. It doesn't require any dependability on any external tooling or any browser requirements or anything. So that's the thing. Can I use it with some of other web frameworks like Angular? Yes, you can definitely use it. There are two ways of using AMP. You can create your website fully with AMP, or you can just use AMP components. Both of the way it will benefit your project. And I will also tell you in the coming session how you can use AMP with other web frameworks. But these requirements are for creating 100% valid AMP page, and 100% valid AMP page means that you will be getting 100% AMP bolt icon in Google search results. To be eligible for that, you need to follow all these four instructions that are being said. So then you have something called as validator, AMP validator, which helps us to validate whatever is coming on the AMP website. What is better, Gatsby or AMP? Gatsby is a static site generator, I would say, and they have an AMP support. You can generate AMP website from Gatsby. And there is a very good blog I have read. I would definitely share the link in Slack channel. Remember to put it on Slack also. I will get back with the link. So validator helps you, get 100% score. It will tell you what are the errors, how you can make your website performant and everything. And then if your website is 100% AMP valid, all your website pages will be cached on Google server. You don't need to apply any CDN or your own caching system. Google will do it for you. So you don't need to write any single line of caching or CDN code or any edge code. So that's what all AMP does. And with these 6 days, I will be telling you each and every single thing that will help you create your own valid AMP products. So learning AMP for web development. So coming back to Kavya's question that what do you need? You need to know standard HTML, CSS and JavaScript. When I say standard, it's the bare minimal. If you wanted to create a hello world example with H1, H2, that's it. That's what we need to know. It's compatible with all modern web browser. That was Raja Vikrant Sharma's question. That yeah, it is uh, compatible with surprisingly all web browsers. It is not dependent on any special tooling. You don't need any Node.js server setup, no Express server setup, no special. You can even host your AMP pages on GitHub or GitHub pages or Netlify or wherever you want to post it. You can do it. You can run it directly in the browser. You don't need anything, and it is totally component based, so you don't need to learn everything. You just need to know the components that you are going to use inside your project. And the best way to learn is learn by examples, and we'll be covering a lot of examples in these coming sessions. So Omkar has a question: AMP or PWA? So AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages and PWA stands for Progressive Web Apps. There is a special section that is called AMP PWA, in which you can create an AMP page and that can act as a PWA. We have a working demo on that also. You can ask this question on Slack. Somebody will get back with you with this question. But these are two different things. PWA is for creating a native location for a website into your phone, but AMP is to speed up your website, to create pages that are very fast. So oh my god. So this is the thing, guys, history of AMP. I was about to create this slide and then I forgot. Oh my god, this is such embarrassment. Uh, but I'll tell you whatever I know about. AMP was started almost 4 years ago by a team of developers from Google. So basically, these were the developers who were working on jQuery also. It's very embarrassing to keep the blank slide. Let me talk about this and let me talk about those things. So and they started implementing all the things. They discovered the main basic problem was whenever a website is loading, the biggest challenge is for a slow website that there are some elements that are render blocking. So the technical definition of render blocking is when you have to load a JavaScript which runs something else, but that component is loaded at first glance and your JavaScript is not loaded, so your web browser will wait until that JavaScript file is loaded. So that JavaScript module itself is a 2 MB or 3 MB pack, and somehow it is being loaded at the last step. Your website won't load at all until this JavaScript module is loaded. This is also true with CSS modules. If you are using external CSS like Bootstrap, if you are using external Node modules or JavaScript, any CDN like thing. So these were the main problems that they create render blocking elements. And to overcome this, they created AMP, that everything will be served through AMP. AMP will decide what to load first, what to load later. And actually, when you go into the network graph, we will see that example too. AMP loads everything at instant, and everything is loaded without any render blocking issue. So this is the best part of AMP, and that's why AMP was actually created. This is the technical reason. So then we'll talk about what are the different offerings. AMP offers a lot of things. Basically, literally, like anything that you imagine on the web that is available today, AMP has some offering for that. And the main reason for this thing is so that you can create any kind of web project or any kind of app project using AMP as your extension to create fast and ultra fast example. Can you tell some examples of AMP websites created with AMP? Sure, I will do that, Summer. And thanks for bringing up this question. So it's hard to see AMP websites on desktop view, but AMP is basically for mobile. So what I will do, I have a small extension that turns my desktop into a mobile kind of user agent, so that it fools Google that I'm actually a mobile instead of desktop. So now I will go on Google and I will search for something, let's say future of telecoms, or maybe COVID-19. No, COVID-19 is too much bloated. So let me go with future of telecom connection. So now you see this. This is the first web results. Let me zoom out. Zoom in. So this is the first web results that appears, and AMP has a capability of improving your SEO by 10 ranks, up to 10 ranks. So this is an example of AMP site, how it loads in the Google search results. And notice what happens. I click on this button. For your safety, this is my right hand, and this is when I actually click the link, and it opens the page nearly instantly. This page was open first time and it opens like it was stored in Google search. One of the best thing is if you observe the URL closely over here, you will see that the URL is actually google.co.in/amp, then the website URL. This is because Google server, Google CDN actually stores the copy of your website. That's the reason that it loads fast. And if you have a 100% valid page, it will automatically, give you this capability. We will talk about more about how to validate your AMP in tomorrow's session. Today is just an introduction about AMP looks like. So you can see that even companies, big companies like Forbes is also using that. So Forbes, uh, this page is also AMP page. You can see it's more optimized for mobile. But basically, if I change my user agent back to a normal user agent and load this again, you see AMP also helped me create this card kind of thing, which is very hard to create in usually these days. So AMP actually does this. And even this website has to load in this way. We have applied some redirection logic that takes back to Embed.com. But you can actually create AMP pages that load instantly inside the web page. So that's for your answer, Summer. What it would it be somewhat similar to SSR of pages? Yeah, AMP is totally server side rendered. There is no client side requirement, so that's why I was saying there is no runtime environment that you need to run AMP. So AMP pages are both dynamically generated. If you are using something like Node.js or Express.js to generate AMP pages, you can basically do that. You can write simple AMP HTML code just using your Notepad, Sublime, whatever you use, and that's the easiest way to actually release AMP pages. So these are the four offerings that AMP actually offers. One is AMP websites, AMP stories, AMP ads, and AMP emails. So we'll be covering the basic about all these things. So AMP works only in mobile view, not in desktop view. No, the way I just wanted to show you the AMP cache format. So AMP cache actually only works in mobile view, but AMP website works in everything. So they are actually responsive. So it doesn't has any problem with loading in any other website. For example, if I go back to my browser, this is the AMP's homepage, and this is actually obviously made with AMP. And if I change my inspect element view and change it to mobile, you see that this is fully mobile compatible. So AMP pages are mobile compatible, but the AMP cache thing from Google search results is only possible on mobile right now. So these are the four things that we that are offered by AMP, and we'll be covering the basics of all these four things. And then in the coming session in day 2, 3, and 4, we'll be covering in detail of how you can develop actually AMP websites and things like that. So the first thing that comes is AMP pages, that is AMP websites. The basic thing of whatever you do on internet, it's the websites. So AMP pages, the AMP website thing is a way to create compelling, smooth, and instant web pages that loads instantly, are responsive by default, have accessibility, and are very good at search engine optimization. So the mail has a question: does AMP have a strong JavaScript suite? Because if the JavaScript is restricted, then it could cause issues. So basically, if I have to explain this in the coming session, you will see JavaScript is basically used for implementing dynamic things such as bindings or maybe routing or sidebar or uh, carousel or anything. So AMP has something called as components. We'll be learning about that. And these components are responsible for loading these things without actually including any JavaScript line. So you can actually create any capability. AMP has a component for that. So AMP under the hood does the JavaScript and HTML thing for you. And there is a way that is called AMP script. If you still want to include your custom JavaScript, that will load in an async fashion so that your page performance is not degraded. We'll see about this example in the coming sessions. So AMP website are this is what how AMP website looks like. Now, if you look closely, this is a sample example of image. If you have to add an image of this kind in a normal HTML page, you will generally use img tag, right? And then you will write this thing about width, height, and everything goes inside media query. But AMP has a different way of doing things. So instead, you include an AMP img component and include your image over here, add a height and width. What should be the height and width? And this is the alternative word. You can add more attributes like responsiveness, lazy loading, and things like that. So these are the things that are included by default inside the AMP already. You don't need to add any other JavaScript module to have this thing in images. So that is how AMP actually improves the performance of your website. And this is some results that were observed. India today traffic grew by 6 times when they implemented AMP, and Washington Post had 23% return users from the mobile searches that they were using. And don't worry about desktop too much, guys. Like 70% results and Google search happens on mobile these days. So you have to optimize your mobile experience on that. There are different features that are being offered by AMP, and this is actually the maintainability and flexibility of you doing your own code. There is nothing like extra tooling or you need any external updates that you need to do. Then measuring analytics. Basically, whatever you see over here are the features that are different features that are available with AMP, and these are the things that you can do. Now, if you see closely, this is again a sample AMP link that occurs with different Google search results. And as soon as you search something, this is the example that I showed you. And AMP cache helps this page to load instantly inside that. If you're a publisher, you want more instant results. So that's how AMP can actually help you out with this. So this next is a boilerplate code example. We will be covering again this in much detail, but I just wanted to touch this part that how much easy it is to actually create AMP HTML pages. For those of you who are worrying that you need to know JavaScript and things like that, so let me be like totally frank with you. There is no huge requirements for that. So most of the things look normally same as a normal HTML document, but you will see some surprising things like in order to declare like the AMP HTML thing, you need to use this bolt image emoji that is actually responsible for telling the browser that it actually is a AMP page. You can also use AMP tag, and we'll be covering about this in tomorrow's session. So next thing that you will see that you have included the CDN modules from the AMP project, and then everything that you do inside the AMP code is actually using a AMP tag. And these all AMP tags are available in the AMP document repository that we'll be covering shortly. So after this hello world small example of how you can do this thing, next we have AMP stories. So AMP stories have recently transitioned into calling them web stories. And if you have visited mobile web's landing page, we that is mobileweb.dev, we use AMP story to actually portray the AMP story concept. So if you are fond of creating WhatsApp stories, which is the best way to interact with your users, right? Creating Instagram, Twitter even released something called as Fleets. But the problem was this thing was that all the time the content was hosted on these platforms, and there was no way that you could download the tappable feature. But now with AMP stories, they have brought the way of interactively narrating that story inside your web project. So basically, you can create fast loading, full screen, tappable, easy to create animatable stories, just like WhatsApp or Instagram statuses, which have animations and things like that. So just I think seeing is believing. So let me take you to our landing page and show you how a sample AMP story look like. So we go to mobileweb.dev and you will see that the landing page again the AMP story have the same performance capability of AMP thing, and this actually performs very good on SEO and search engine optimization. You can have your Instagram carousels, have animations inside them. You can also include sidebars, have an inbuilt share feature. Everything is being offered by AMP, and this is a normal HTML. This looks even more cool if you see this in a mobile format, because this opens in a full screen, and if your phone has a notch, this looks beautiful and covers the whole notch. This is the only web component that actually does that. There is no other web component that does that. So for your next project, for creating your resume, portfolio, and profile, I think AMP Stories is the best way. You can include your bookmarks and things like that. So this was about the AMP stories. We'll be covering a full session on AMP stories, also how you can create your own AMP stories. Again, you don't need to know any JavaScript or any hard coding for this, just normal components. And the benefits of AMP stories that we have already talked. Now you have also realized that yes, AMP would be really this great. So with this, we can download the stories. Yeah, the AMP stories are normal HTML. You can right click and download the whole page. It will be downloaded as a normal HTML page, but will open as a story. So these are the features that AMP stories actually offer. It's very easy and easy to track. Usually on a normal page, you can just know that okay, how many people are coming to your page and how many people are exiting, but you don't know which section of this page people are going. So AMP stories has something called as tappable tracking. You can track individual tabs, how far a person is going in terms of tabs. There is no other way that you can actually do this. So that's why, thanks to AMP, that this has this capability. Again, fast loading time. It's easily shareable on social media groups and everything. So we will try AMP stories. Then this AMP ads. Most of you need ads to actually run your revenue, run your business in some way. So, but ads are also very responsible for loading slow website. If you are used to go on news agencies, you will see their ads actually sucks. Like they are overlapping. You have to tap accidentally and things like that. So AMP released something called as AMP ads, and it supports almost all the ad providers these days. And it actually, this is the real life results of how AMP ads looks like, how fastly they actually loads, even if you want to load AMP ads inside your website. So this is a good nasty feature of how ads actually works, and these are some stats of how people find AMP ads actually improving their revenue. So uh, these, like, you can see yourself. Then, last but not the least, we have AMP emails, which is the kind of major way of how we communicate. And there is some interesting thing, this interesting secret that I will tell you, and you'll be totally amazed. So, if recently you have shared a Google Doc with someone on email using Gmail or G Suite, you'll be noticing that there is a bold icon in the email, and you can actually see the live preview of what is happening inside the email without opening the actual document. That is the capability that AMP email provides. Before this, emails used to be normal, like whatever you send is like a text format, person reads it and is just like read and throw, that's it. You need to reply, that's the best you can do. And if you want to have any engaging effect, you have to have opened way, like open this tab in a new open this link in a new tab and then do an interactivity like filling out an form or something. So AMP email changed this forever. So according to the director of bookings.com, he said that AMP emails is the biggest thing that has happened to email so far. So email, like nobody, there is no fancy thing about emails, but AMP email is the fancy thing. What actually AMP email does, it creates your email interactive. You can create forms, carousel, add any JavaScript module you want, that AMP actually offers uh, inside your own email. If you want to get a feedback, you want to get a rating, you can create an AMP email, send it on across these supported email clients. And mostly people use Gmail, Mail.ru, and Outlook.com. Now they are going to get support for Safari Mail Opener also, and you can run a AMP email, fully interactive email inside these clients. We'll be covering more about AMP emails inside the last session, that is everywhere, and you will find how much AMP emails are beneficial. So last thing is how to learn AMP. So this has been my personal favorite, like how actually I learn different frameworks is to actually go with the get started theme of any website, go through the guides and tutorial. AMP has a beautiful library for different components, and every component has example led instructions. So then you have courses. AMP crash course that is hosted by Mobile Web is one of the affiliated courses with am.dev, and you can use templates and toolings and all that you can find on am.dev. So one of the question that Deepak has, what is the example of AMP email? So if you have received an email about how to join on Slack, it had some interactive features like analytics and all that. So that email was actually made of AMP. You wouldn't spot a lot of difference, the one that we sent from our end. So, but we will learn how you can create carousel, rating system, forms, and all that in the AMP section. So this is about how you can learn AMP, and AMP needs young contributors like you who can help them in documentation, creating new learning material, test and find new bugs that are coming on the community, code and create new features if you are the nerdy one. And that's the way how to run a community. So this was all about what AMP has to offer, why we actually created AMP, and what are the things that AMP does, like the AMP offerings, the way it does it, and what's the bad thing about uh, a normal internet. Now, one pretty good question that people ask me about, why you should learn AMP. The main reason to do is, like, even if you go in any company, if you have a slight edge over other people in creating a website that performs good on search engine, also that is fast and interactive, I think that's a good win. If you add it to your resume, any publishing company or anyone would understand, okay, AMP is a thing that I actually need, and they will be definitely recommending you for any project that comes. But more than that, the final outcome, for every fast loading thing that you have on the web. That means somehow you have low load on the servers. A good fast running code means low load on the server. That means making earth a cleaner and greener place. So this can be also one of the commitment how you can see how AMP can help. And with that, this is the end of today's session. And